Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Backstage Spotlight. Today I'm with Sam Ivey. Hello.
Hi, you okay?
Yes, I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I know that we've been trying to do this for weeks and I've been really rubbish. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it always happens. Things get in the way, life gets in the way. I think last time we postponed, you were coming down with something. I then was ill.
There's been so much going around at the moment as well.
I know. I've just had COVID.
Have you, do you know what? I think the thing that's going around is a new strain of COVID because
I think it
we've
is.
had so many sick. Six, bless them, have had a total nightmare the last couple of, when you're just like, people can't help getting ill.
Yeah.
We're not robots. Doing 8 shows a week is already really hard when you're healthy.
Yeah.
Like, once you're poorly, there's nothing you can do about it. And it's,
I know. It's
and
tough.
I think most audience members understand, but
Yeah.
uh, it's just so hard. And for the producers and stuff, like having to then try and put a show on when people are poorly, it's so hard. But
Exactly. And
oh,
yeah, so first of all, you are
yes,
currently in Mamma Mia.
yes.
And I mean, it's been nearly a year now.
October will be a year, which is mad.
That has gone really quick. I remember your post and it
No,
was like, I'm joining the cast of Mamma Mia.
yeah,
And
it's mad.
you've nearly been there a year. How did
Yeah,
you
it's
feel
flown.
when you found out that you're going to be making your West End debut?
Oh my God. I think because of the setting, so I found out I was doing some featured vocals for a Tina and Whitney UK tour at the time.
Oh,
So it was really fun, like concert vibes. It was really cool. But we were on the tour bus driving from somewhere down south. And I was like, I just know that when I'm sat on this bus surrounded by people, I'm going to get that phone call. And my phone rang and I was like, I can't pick it up. I can't pick up the phone surrounded by a bunch of musos and like, I was like, I need to be on my own for this phone call. So
yeah.
I had to wait until the next service station, which was like an hour and a half down the road. And I was sweating. I was like, is it going to be yes? Is it going to be no? I don't know what I'm doing here. So I got out the bus at the service station and I phoned my agent back. I was like, just put me out my misery. Help me. So I was stood outside of Starbucks at a service station. Um, and I literally stayed really cool on the phone. And then I put the phone down and like bawled my
You
eyes. Like a
like?
total lunatic on my own. But no, when I got back to the tour bus, I told all the guys and everyone went mental. So it was really cute.
Oh,
Um,
what a moment. I mean, how has it been so far, the show? You do a lot of cover.
I cover all three dynamos. So
Wow.
I'm in the show anyway in my ensemble track, and then I cover Rosie, Donna, and Tanya. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot. The cover rehearsals were intense, but I feel like with anything, once you know it, you know it. So once
Yeah.
you've learned it and it's in you, then it just doesn't feel as like, oh my God, I've had to learn because like I've been on for Tanya the last couple, well, last night I was on for Tanya, at the beginning of the week I was on for Tanya, and I hadn't done that since the beginning of April. But
Wow, that's wild.
yeah, but then you just go, okay, well, it's in there somewhere. So I'm not going to bother stressing about it. I'm just going to trust that my muscle memory is going to kick in.
Yeah.
And
And
as
I
I walk on
suppose,
stage,
yeah, I suppose also with the dynamos, they have a lot of scenes together. So if you know the scene as a whole, you
yeah,
can kind of like slot in
yeah,
cues and stuff. Like you kind of know
yeah.
the scene.
The only really tricky thing with that is if you know the show. In fact, you were in the front row at one point. When
Yeah,
did
my mum.
I remember looking out and going, is that Matilda?
My mum won the lottery tickets and she was like, You'll never. And obviously, I live in London and she's up north.
Yeah,
So she was like, Oh, do you want to just come and meet me in London? And I was like,
yeah.
Sure. And she was like, You'll never guess where we sat. And I was like, No. And she was like, The front row. And I was like, You are joking. And my mum loves Mamma Mia. Like, she'll jump at any opportunity. But the front row, we were mortified.
I feel like I was on for Tanya that night because you were right in front of me at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
you
like I
were. You were on for Tanya.
that's mad, isn't it?
Hmm.
The
You did
only
so well.
really massive brain fart moment is the Act One bedroom scene with Chiquitita and Dancing Queen in it.
Yes.
Because it's like 9, 10 minutes long. It's just the three of them. And you stood there and you go, don't say Rosie's line. If you're on for Tanya, you're like, don't say Rosie's line.
Yes.
Don't say Rosie's lines. And you're like, don't pick up the cloth, pick up the grapes. Don't put it's because it's so proppy and it's so busy that you're just like,
Mm.
just focus on the one you're doing. It's so, like you have to delete the other two in that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
But it's really
Be
fun. I
such
love
like
it.
a mind, like, right, I'm going on this track.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. And it helps once you're in the get up. And like, for example, when I'm on for Rosie and I'm looking at Kate in the Tanya costume, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm being
You're not
Rosie.
Tanya.
That's fine. Yeah. Makes it easier, but it's really fun.
Have there ever been any moments that you've been like, oh no, like I should have done that?
Um, little ones
Yeah.
little things like I'm trying to think of one. The other night, Monday night, when I went on for the first time in a few months, we were doing the quick change during the wedding for Donna.
Yes.
During that quick change, it's like a Rosie gives her the dress and Tanya puts her bag down, gets the flowers and gives her the vet. And you know when you're like you've both got little things to do. But
Yes.
in my brain, I was like, oh, we're behind here, and Rosie gave her the dress, and I was like, dress, veil. Literally was like, I can't remember what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
but it was fine. No one was late and we got there and she walked down the aisle and it was all good. But you know when you're like, Sam, don't forget the veil.
Yeah.
Like literally your job to give her the
Especially
veil.
stuff like that when it's like moving a piece of
Yeah.
furniture or like
Yeah.
it's the stuff that's really tricky to just remember what track does what.
Yeah. But
But
no,
yeah.
it's a massive challenge, but it's just such a buzz. And it's so rewarding because then when you do it, you're like, yeah, I did that. Because I remember back in December, I was making my Rosie debut on like a Wednesday, because Nicola Dawn had holiday Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I knew I was going to be Rosie for 3 days. And on the Monday, I think I can't remember what accumulation of things happened, but I ended up going on for Tanya. So I
Mm.
ended up going for my second cover for the first time, the show before my first cover for the first time.
Whoa.
I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But when it got to that Wednesday night and I'd done them both, I was like, tick,
Yeah. Oh,
done.
it's been such a relief. Like you need to get those first ones out of the way.
Yeah.
Then you can just like relax. What's the like the most last minute you've been thrown on for one of them?
Um, on a 2 show day, probably after the matinee. So it's never been like at the half you're on. Um, I feel like everyone, unless it's like a sudden illness or an injury, everyone kind of they know what theatre's like and they call it early enough to be like, I'm not going to be able to get through the next one. There's no point in me waiting until blah blah blah. And on a normal show day, you have a cut-off point. So like today, people have to tell the company manager by 3 o'clock. So
Yeah.
you get enough notice.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I don't think I've ever been thrown on too last minute. Not on this job anyway.
What is your favorite part of Mamma Mia to do? Like favorite number, favorite scene?
In which track?
Um, just in general.
In general. Okay, so I'm moving my chair. I get such a buzz in my ensemble track when the girls at the end of Lay All Your Love, when it's the key change and we all come running through for the hen party with all the furniture.
Yes.
The biggest buzz from that bit, it's like literally we're in the wings like hyping up because it's just so fun. So I love that moment, but I also Voulez-Vous is just so fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say that whole scene, like the whole hen party, that whole
Yeah.
dance, it's all so good. Must be so fun.
So fun. It's so fun. It's the biggest like track of the show for the girls, I think, because we're literally on stage from the end of all of Lay All Your Love right up until the interval. So it's like
Mm.
I remember in rehearsals we rehearsed each thing separately and we were like, are we going to put this together? Because like I don't think I've got the stamina for this yet. Like just think I might collapse. But I love that section and the mega mix just because the audio, especially Dancing Queen, when you can see all four tiers doing the arms, it's
Yeah.
literally I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
this is pretty epic. Like, how is this my job?
Did you recently perform at West End Live?
Yes,
How was that?
mad. I'd never done West End Live before either, so that
Did
was
you
another like
not?
no.
Yeah,
Um,
bucket list moment.
so good. No, it was really, really fun. Do you know what the most fun part? Funnest part? English isn't happening for Sam
Honestly,
Ivey.
no, it's too early.
Coffee? Um, what? my favorite part of it was, yes, performing and seeing like everyone in the crowd, but being backstage and bumping into your friends in other shows.
Yes, oh,
Like
it must have been so
as
nice.
one show comes off, you're like, oh my God, like Kate, or oh my God, Zoe.
You're
Like
doing
you
this
just
now, yeah, like
and then literally you have like 2 seconds to say hi to them and then you're being pushed into another area. And it's like that was more buzzy for me, was getting to like celebrate everybody else
yeah,
backstage and
oh, it's so lovely.
just and seeing all the fans come together. Like that event was tiny when it first started. It's got so big now.
It's
The
huge.
amount of people in Trafalgar Square.
Yeah. I was talking to someone yesterday who was in the cast of Babies, and he just said, just looking out and all the people.
It was mad. Like and to think that like all those people are brought together because of theatre
Yeah.
is pretty epic. Like we're all there because we love the same thing, and
Yeah.
it's just like universal. It's just
It's
really
so nice
cool.
as well for people who can't afford to go and see all of the shows, and then they can just go on the day and see all of them.
Yeah, I mean, people were queuing from like 3 a.m.
No way.
Some of the fans from Mamma Mia got in the queue at like 3 a.m. so they could be at the front, and you just go, oh my God.
It's like
Like
a concert.
it's like a concert, and how cool to have something in your life that you are that passionate about and that you love that much. Like it's really cool.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the West End flea market because I have been following your crochet journey. How long? Let's just tell everyone on the podcast who doesn't
Yeah.
know what you did and how long it took you.
Okay, so in my ensemble track, I play the infamous Greek granny, who is
Love her favorite
the
character.
old lady that sits and crochets at the beginning, gets really gossipy and she's just really nosy and really normally really angry and really like grumpy, depending on how she feels on the day. But she crochets as a prop. And for the first couple of months when I was learning the dynamo tracks, I was like, I can't learn to crochet on top of all this. But over Christmas, I learned how to crochet. So now I actually sit and do it on stage. But so I make granny squares that are like this big on stage. And then I was like, do you know what? For the flea market, why don't I just do something for the stall? And I was like, why don't I make like a big granny blanket? So I looked up sizing. It ended up being massive.
Did
It
it?
was like 99 squares.
Oh my goodness. Of like that size.
Yeah. So I did 54 blue squares and 45 white squares. And
Oh,
I made all the white ones on stage because I'm only allowed white or grey wool on stage.
oh
So I
right.
made all the blue ones off stage and I made all the white ones on stage. I think from starting that first one to finishing it, bearing in mind I was doing it on the train, it became my whole personality. I was doing it on the train, sat
Arrived at
on my
the stage
sofa.
door like
I know, sat on my sofa watching telly, constantly crocheting. I think it took me 2 months.
whoa.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
yeah. But crochet is now like something that I just do to relax. Like my niece is going to be 1 next week. And I was like, I'm going to make her a little crochet blanket. And I started it last night. It's actually in front of me because I need to do some more today.
I
But
was.
let me grab it.
I love crochet. It's so good. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
good.
I hold it back here. But
Oh,
the
I
wall is like
love that.
speckled with like sage.
Oh,
You
gorgeous.
can see it.
Yeah,
But I literally started this in the interval. No, I started this before last night's Tanya show. Um,
that's so good.
and it's just a really fun thing to do. It's like mindfulness. I know that sounds
Yeah,
really, stupid. I was going to say a
yeah.
word then that I probably would have had to
Like
delete.
cliche.
Yeah, but it's really like just doing stuff with your hands and like
Therapeutic.
zoning out into something different. Yeah, it's really, I love it.
And I
And I
always
never,
say this as performers, you need a hobby because as
yeah,
much as you love performing, it's now your job. You need something on the side to like
absolutely.
decompress.
Yeah, and I love reading. Like I always have a book in my bag for the train, but
Yes.
like this, like it's doing something rather than just,
Creative as well.
yeah. I would urge anyone to learn to crochet.
I second that.
But it got raffled at the flea market. So we had 4 items up for raffle and they were like um the blanket and uh I can't remember, the office donated something 25th anniversary related. I can't remember what the other things were, But the raffle made so much money. It was ridiculous.
Wow. Such a
Tried
good,
to-
like, it's such a good event. That was.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And it was madness, but it was like just so much fun. And the weather held out, and it's another time where you get to see people from other shows and everyone just really supports everyone. It's
Yeah.
another like really gorgeous event. It's a shame they're so close together because it would be nice to spread them out
Yeah, that's
throughout
true.
and like do one in like autumn so that it's not like May, June. But
Yeah.
it's so nice. We've
Yeah.
got a great community in theatre, like gorgeous people, amazing energies. It's such a small community, weirdly, even though it feels massive. Everyone knows everyone, and it's just so supportive. It's so nice. Like everyone kind of goes, "Oh, is it really competitive?" And you just go, "Well, no, not really,
Mm.
because we're
I
all here to
suppose
do."
like when you're encapsulated in the college side of it and you're
Yeah,
like freshly graduated and like fighting for those jobs, you can see why there can be an element of that. But in the
yeah.
community of shows and like choreographers, producers, like all of that, everyone's just out there to support each other, aren't they?
100%. And like when I was in for this, I was actually in for it with like one of my really good friends. We were both in for a Dynamo cover track. And we saw each other and literally walked into the first audition and we went, "Oh, I knew you'd be here." You know, when you're like, I knew that we would both be in for this. But it just meant that we got to do all the audition process together, have a laugh together, do the scenes together. It was really fun. And then in the end, we kind of went, whoever gets it out of us, or if neither of us get it, or if one of us gets it, we're just going to be really happy for each other. And that's exactly how it was. And it's, you know, you're going to see people, if especially further down the line when it becomes smaller and smaller, you're going to see people you know
Yeah.
and really, really like love and value in for the same thing as you. And
Yeah.
it's just learning to go, okay, well, if I don't get it, it wasn't for me, and that's fine.
Yeah,
Or
and
if they,
something will come around the corner,
yeah,
you'll
absolutely.
that's more suited.
Yeah. So how do you feel now that you've graduated? Or
Oh,
have you graduated yet? Or have you just left?
I've left and my graduation's in a week, so literally a week today.
Are you
It,
excited about the fact that you've left, or are you a bit like, is it a bit daunting?
I think I'm very excited because I was getting to that point where like I just wanted to just explode out of college. And you know, when there's just that lid on and you still have to do like your assessments, you still have the summer show to get through. Like I was just like, I'm ready to leave. And
Yeah.
now like I just feel like I have so much time to do what I really want to do. Like I don't have to go to
Yeah.
that ballet class that I didn't want to go to.
Oh
And
God, tell me about
as much as I loved college, love the community, and I'm actually working there in September. I've been offered a contract in the children's
Great.
department teaching. I just want to pursue TV, presenting, my podcast, getting more of those in. And I just think that now I just have all the time in the world to do that.
Have so much more freedom. On
Exactly.
top of conditioning, like,
Yeah. And I think when you are in college and you know then what you want to do, because I've always loved musical theatre and I just know how tough it is.
yeah,
I've then discovered my love for presenting, interviewing,
yeah,
TV, carpets, and I just have my eye on that now. And you
yeah.
get to the point in college when you think, as much as I love going to this jazz class, I'd just love to do a podcast. Like,
Yeah. But how amazing that you've figured that out about yourself. Like, how old are you?
20.
You're 20. Okay. You have done all of this at 20. To have the ambition you have, to have the drive you have, and to have figured out what your other avenues are this early on is pretty like epic. Do you know, like I think you're doing so well for it, honestly.
Thank
Like
you.
most people leave college and they're like, well, I don't really know what I want to do, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
And
it's a
you've got
hard
it all figured out.
time. Yeah, with agents and stuff, I mean, we're lucky because we have an in-college agent.
Yeah,
So he kind of like nurtures us out of college. We stay with him for a while. So I've never had that pressure of contacting agents. And I'll get to the point, but I'm looking more towards TV now and
yeah,
what agents suit that style of work. And I think it's important for people even listening to know that it's no rush
no,
and that you will do your things in your own time. Like, for example, everyone at my college has been getting vocal reels and show reels done. And I'm in the back of my head, I've got like a vocal reel like planned in the back of my head, but I've got like other things prioritized before I do that. And I will do it eventually when the time comes. And then I can reach out to more people and ask for maybe an aid, like a representation for vocal, voiceover work, adverts, stuff like that. And there's just so many different avenues, but you can't do everything at once. And I think prioritizing that stuff is really important.
Absolutely. And it also, there is no rush to get your first gig. Like
So,
when I graduated, I was, I had just had no confidence at all, like none. And I ended up doing a 6-month contract on one of the Cunard ships for Belinda King's. So I did that for 6 months. And then I was still like, I can't get an agent, I can't audition, I won't get a job, blah, 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 blah. So I started guest enting, which is like a fly on, fly off gig on cruise ships. So you fly on with your own show, you do your show for a
yes.
week. So I did that for like 6.5 years.
Wow.
Traveled, I can't believe how much of the world I've seen. It's a joke. Traveled everywhere, which I feel very lucky for. I never thought I'd do that. And then eventually I was like, Sam, you need to actually try and do this audition thing. But it took me so long to actually get like pluck up the courage to do it.
Mm.
And it just, that was my timing. I didn't get my first musical till I was 28.
And that's your journey, and it is how it
Yeah.
is.
And what's so weird is like I did all of that and that's been my journey. And then I actually had a random, I don't even know how it came into my head. Like 6 months ago, my head of singing at Millennium was called Mary King and she was amazing. And I remember her saying to me, you're not going to hit your prime until your early 30s. She was like, because of how you carry yourself and because of the maturity of your voice and because of you as a person, she was like, yeah, your 20s will be okay. She was like, but you're not going to hit your prime until your early 30s. And I've completely forgotten about it. And then the other day I went, she was like totally right. Isn't
That,
that weird?
oh, that's incredible. That I love when a teacher sees that in you
Yeah.
and they know what they're talking about and you're like, yeah, like whatever. And then you
I,
actually think back and you're like, mind
yeah.
blown.
Fast forward like 12 years, that whatever, I was like, oh my God, Mary said that. And she got it spot on, like to a T.
Yeah.
That's,
Amazing.
yeah, it's mad. So there is no rush and everyone has their own journey. And, you know, you have your own way around doing it. And it's good to have fingers in other pies. It's good to not just go tunnel vision on one thing. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
You did the share show tour. How
I
was that?
did. Oh my God, it was so epic.
How do you
Um,
find touring and the whole lifestyle behind doing that?
touring is hard. The
Mm.
the good thing, the thing I would say with tour, it was my first tour, so I kind of went in a bit blind.
Mm.
But um, as soon as you know you've got the job, pre-plan it. It's hard when you don't know who you're working with and you don't know who you'd want to share digs with and stuff. But as soon as you get that itinerary, get your digs booked in, do all of that. The other thing on tour that's really hard is eating and meal prep because sometimes your digs don't have a kitchen and sometimes you like that's really hard. But the really good thing about touring is one, seeing different theatres every week because the regional theatres around this country are beautiful. And the other really good thing about touring is the lack of commute. So
Yeah.
you literally come off stage and you're probably about 5 minutes away from your digs.
That's
And then you're home and showered and in bed.
yeah.
Unlike working in London and then commuting home. So I mean it was great. And we went to some epic theatres. Um,
What
the
was your
show was
favourite that you've been to?
which theatre? I loved the Manchester Opera House.
Nice.
And I really loved Birmingham, the Hippodrome,
Yes.
which was just so nice. And what was the other one that was really gorgeous? There was one that was it Bristol?
Someone said Bath the other day.
Oh, the Theatre Royal in Bath is beautiful as well.
Yeah.
There's loads, and some of them are really contemporary, like Plymouth feels really contemporary, but
Yeah,
then
like
some of them are
new,
like that
fresh and
old,
good.
yeah, and some of them are like that old school traditional.
Yeah.
Like I think my favorite for me was probably Woking because that was my home local. Like that's 20 minutes from where I grew up. That's like where I went and saw shows as a kid. And I was always like, I'm going to do a show there one day. And then going actually doing it there, I was like, this is epic. So
Yeah.
it's not
I
the
can
most
full
aesthetically
circle.
pleasing. Yeah, like it's not the most beautiful venue from the inside, like it's not a traditional theatre, and it almost feels concerty, I think, Woking,
Yeah.
like a concert. But it was amazing. Like it was where all my family and friends came to see it, and it was just like a really epic week. It
And
was
you
so
did
good.
cover in that show as well. Am I right
Yeah,
in
yeah, so I covered two roles in that show. I covered uh Cher.
yes.
So if you don't know the Cher show, there's three Chers at three different points of her life. You've got the older of the three Chers, who is kind of the narrator of the story. She starts it, and then she uses the two younger Chers to help tell the story. And then after the
At
interval,
the
actually,
beginning, when they're all sat, I was like, why are there three shares on stage? I was so confused, and it took me time to work out that they were all
so
different times.
how long did it actually take you to work that out? Interestingly, did it click, or did it take
Well, I was more like thrown by the accent, you
the
know,
Cher?
yeah, the chair voice. I was like, because when you had a long day and then you go and sit in the theatre, and like I didn't know much about Cher's life. So
Yeah.
it was really good in that sense, like I learned so much. But then I was like, what is going on? And then I sat back and I was like, oh, they're all Cher.
They're all
About to
Cher.
tell the story of Cher's life in chronological order.
So did it make sense before Millie started on the little tricycle?
Yes,
Did
yeah,
it click before that?
yeah,
Okay, well that's good.
yeah.
That's always positive. So I covered Star, who is the older of the three Chers, and I covered Georgia. I covered the mum.
Oh, nice. And what was your favorite bit to do in that show?
Uh, as Star, the end of Act One. So it was a song called "Song for the Lonely," which was the first time all three Chers actually sing together. So it just feels really like epic and powerhousey. Um, in my ensemble track, what was my favorite bit to do in my ensemble track? I loved the tap number, the Bob Mackie costume number, purely because there was an epic dance ensemble in that show. They were so good, but there were two older ensemble. That was me and one of the guys, and we were basically there to cover Sunny and Cher.
Yeah.
Um, but we weren't the dancers. And I went to a dance college, but I call myself a mover, but
Yes, I love
I
that.
can tap. Like tap is one thing I really love. So Oti Mabuse, who was choreographing, they would rehearse in a different studio in the morning, and then we'd come together in the afternoon. And they came back one day, and I realized that Bob Mackie was a tap routine, and I was like, I need to get in this number. I was like, I need to be playing this number. And I don't know who I think I was, or where I got the guts from, but I literally walked up to Oti and I was like, do you want another person in this number? Who did I think I was? And she was like, can you tap? And I said, yeah. And she was like, go and learn it then. And I went over to the dance captain and I was like, can you teach me this? And she taught it to me, and we ran that number like 15 minutes later, and I was in it. And
No.
Oti was like, you just learned that. I was like, you told me to.
Oh, that is brilliant.
So it was the only number in the show that I was like properly in.
Yeah.
Um, and I loved it.
Hilarious. How is it
Yeah.
working with Oti?
Oh, she's a dream.
Oh,
She she's so gorgeous. She is the biggest energy, and she's just so like passionate about what she does, and um she loves to sing at the top of her voice out of tune. It was one of my favorite things about rehearsals, is the fact that she loves singing so much.
Oh,
Um but she's just not a singer, and she knows she's not, and it was just became like an ongoing joke.
oh, that's
Um but she was amazing, and then we had Arlene as well. Like it was
yes.
such a cool creative team.
What a team, I know.
It was so fun, and the cast, like I've met one of my best friends from that show. Like I'm now like her baby's godmum. Like it's mad how like you make such close friendships on jobs.
Yeah.
um it was so good. I feel like Cher was like, I'd only done one musical before that, and it was pre-COVID, and I feel like Cher was like my foot in the door for the industry properly.
Yeah. That must feel
Like,
so good, like knowing
yeah,
that you're here.
yeah, yeah. Like as soon as I walked in and it was Arlene on the panel, I was like, oh my God, I'm terrified. And And I was in there for like 40 minutes. I only did one audition, and I was in there for like, it was like a workshop style audition. Um, and then obviously once I got that job, I was like, I feel like that team are now, like I'm now forever going to be grateful to that team for like seeing something in me and booking me for the job, because I feel like Cher was my little get in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. In the future, like looking beyond Mamma Mia,
Yeah.
where where would you see yourself, or what is like your dream role to play?
I mean, I don't have a dream. Ironically, my dream role is one of the ones I cover right now that I've not been on for yet. So I'm literally, one of my all-time dream roles my entire life has been Donna in Mamma Mia. I've obviously done my cover runs, which was like so fun, but I'm third cover this year, so I've not been on for her yet. Never say never, touch wood, but I've
If
not got on
three
for Donna yet.
people aren't available to cover her, you're
I'm on, literally. But who knows in the future? You never know, do you? So I'd love to maybe come back in like 8 years and audition for Donna. Um, at this age right now, I would love to play Miss Honey in Matilda.
I see that.
I would
I
love to.
see that.
Um, I just love that role. I don't know what it. The first time I saw it, I went, I want to play that. Like, I need to play that role. Um, I mean, I'd love to do Fontaine, but I think I'm too old for Fontaine now, which is, I feel like they're going younger. I don't know, but like I'm 33 now, and I just feel like maybe I've got too old for Fontaine. I don't know.
I don't think so. Never say
Ah,
never.
and when I was at drama school, I was like, I have to be Elphaba. I don't actually think I think I would love to whack out a Glinda now rather than an Elphaba. Don't
Switch
know
it.
why. Yeah, I don't know. I just, yeah, weird. I don't know, but there are so many shows. I feel like if you named a show at me, I'd probably have a role in it. I'd love to do.
Yeah.
Um, I'd
Yes,
also I'd love to do Mary Poppins.
yes.
I don't know if I'm a strong enough dancer, but I'd love to do Mary Poppins. I'd love to do Calamity Jane. I'd love to do Maria and the Sound of Music. Like I love the classics as well. Like I love all the jukebox musicals and the new stuff, but I love the classics.
Yeah. They're like
Um,
gang.
Yeah. So I don't know that as far as bucket list roles go, Donna is one of them, Miss Honey is the other one, and probably a Fontaine. But anything else that comes up isn't like something I've been yearning for my whole life. It's just something that I would love to do.
Yeah. It's nice. And the world is your oyster.
Literally, I don't know. It's so scary, isn't it, knowing what happens next?
I know, you
It's
just kind of like live your life and then just something will come up and it's just like, oh, okay, this is my
like,
moment.
yeah, this is okay. This is happening now then.
Yeah.
Literally, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Last question. This is one
Go
I
on.
always ask my podcast guests. If you were to nominate someone to come on my podcast, impart their knowledge, someone inspirational from the industry, creative, dancer, singer, anyone, who would it be? And I'll reach out to them.
Oh my gosh. Okay, immediately off the top of my head, I've thought of my best mate because she's huge, she's epic in this industry and she's got so much experience and she's just gorgeous. Um, and that's Danielle Steers.
Yes, she's done so much as well.
She's unbelievable. She would be an epic person to have on here.
Oh,
Um,
I'm going to reach
and
out to her.
yeah, and as far as creatives go, there's so many. It I don't know. What have you had on here so far? Has it all been choreographers and directors and
No, it's been a real mix. I've had like creative wise, I've had Stephen Mear, I've had Matt Cole, um, I've had Philip Joel. Real,
nice?
real eclectic mix, but who?
This could be an interesting one for graduates. Have you ever had an agent?
Yes, I've had our college agent, but maybe we can reach out to another agent.
Yeah, just to give advice, like more of like an advice podcast, maybe.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
Um, yeah, if I think of any, I'll send them your way. But immediately off the top of my head, I was like, okay, Danielle's had the most epic career, and but she's also now a new mum. She's got a baby now, so she's now auditioning. Like I went with her to an audition last week so that I could look after Alfie while she was in the audition. Like
yeah, it's
she's
navigating that life like with being a
yeah,
mum
so
as well.
yeah, so that would be a really epic, because no one talks about that at drama school. No one talks about the fact that us as women one day will probably want to become a mother, and how do we navigate doing both?
Yeah.
So I think that would be a really interesting subject.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. It's been amazing. I hope that everyone listening has enjoyed, and take care. Best time. Hope you cover Donna soon.
Oh, me too.
Lots of love. Bye.